Move on to roll call.
Mr. Simpson? Here. Mr. Little?
Here.
Mayor Bonta?
Here.
Mr. Fleming?
Here.
Ms. Lusko? Here. Mr. Burhans?
Here.
Mr. Jackson?
Present.
Attorney Dogan?
We'll move on to approval of minutes last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second.
We get first, second discussion.
There's something in there that says about Allen's Landscaping. I think that might have been from a previous meeting.
It was definitely from last month because you said it after Barb gave her report and said Allen's was going to be doing it each week.
Sometimes I repeat myself.
We could be in a time loop, which wouldn't surprise me the way this day is going.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I wasn't at the last meeting, so whatever. It's a true statement, I just don't know if it was actually from last meeting.
Okay, so confirmed it was last meeting. And I assume you're referencing all the cutting? Do we remember, or just,
Allen's is doing all cutting at the marina.
okay, that's what I thought. Okay, further discussion on minutes last meeting. Let's move on. All in favor of approving the minutes last meeting, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Minutes pass. All right, move on to treasurer's report. Ron?
Marina operating funds as of 6/30/2025, $453,878.84. Port Authority operating funds as of 6/30/2025, $129,365.41.
All right, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as read by Ron for June 30th.
Second.
Okay, open discussion. All in favor of passing treasurer's report, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Treasurer's report passes. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Legal, Mr. Dogan.
Yes, thank you.
Excuse me, I passed up claims. So we need to move back to claims first.
I'll make a motion to approve the marina claims in the amount of $136,721. Sorry. I'll make a motion to approve the marina claims in the amount of $163,212.39.
Second.
Okay, open discussion. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Marina facility claims passes. Now we have a Port Authority claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the Port Authority claims in the amount of $618.75.
Second.
Okay, any Any discussion on the Port Authority claims? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Port Authority claims passes. And now we can move on to committee reports. Legal, Mr. Dogan.
Yes, thank you, President Fleming. The only extraordinary issue that I have been working on is this letter regarding the obstruction to navigation in Burns Waterway. And after doing some research, I learned that we must notify the United States Coast Guard, the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, and the Army Corps of Engineers before we would dare to mark the obstruction as we are supposed to mark it, because they all have to approve how we do the marking that we use, and the sizing and everything else about it. And so I did draft a letter almost immediately after the last meeting, and I needed GPS coordinates, which I now have. Bobby was so kind as to get them to me, and I think he probably had some difficulty getting them because you have to get right on the object to get the GPS coordinates. And so I do have those now, and I might need a little better description of the object because you have to almost exactly describe it, the size of it, the color of it, how far does it protrude out of the water, and all that good stuff. And then we can get that letter out to them, and then I'm sure they'll come look at it themselves, and then they'll decide how and wherefore we may mark it. And that's all that I have to report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to ask them, or to answer them for you.
I did take photos of that on the approach, and, it is, I would say that it's not in the way of navigable water. It's obviously projecting out of the water, but offshore, probably 10 feet would be a guess. Protruding out of the water would also be a guess of about 10 feet upward. But I just don't see it as a risk to any boater, and two, that's not a highly trafficked area.
Well, my answer to that would be that's good. And I think the way this procedure is set up, President Fleming, is that they make that determination. And so I recommend we still send the letter, and I would guess what they will do is cruise by, have a look at it, and then if they say, oh, you don't need to mark it, wonderful. We passed. And this way, I think we're kind of covering our bases, so to speak, and I'd recommend I send the letter.
Okay. I will forward you the pictures I took for your records.
Perfect. Why don't I just attach them to the letter, and then they can look at them.
Okay, very good. Moving on to marina facility. Barb?
Pretty short report for today. As of July 9th, we have 15 open slips. 8 are open in the 25-foot docks, 1 open in the 30-foot docks, and 6 open in the 35-foot docks. And as of pretty much just right after 4th of July, we're prorating the slips as half the season is over, so the prorated fees are 1/2 the regular season rate. I've also talked to other harbor masters at other public marinas in Hammond, East Chicago, and Michigan City, and they are all experiencing open slips in much larger number than ours. Also, part-time staff has been busy with the normal upkeep, cleaning of restrooms, emptying garbage, pulling weeds, driving customers from the ramps to the gravel lot on busy days. For the month of June, we had 608 daily launches. Marina maintenance has kept busy with normal repairs, replacing dock boards, fixing toilets, faucets, light towers, etc. 4th of July weekend was very busy with a total of 249 daily launches. And we are also up to date with grant reimbursements from the DNR. June 5th, we were reimbursed $205,278. June 25th, we were reimbursed $80,940.75. Allen Landscaping is in the process of cleaning up the ADA fishing pier area, and they will be mowing the grass in the next couple of days. And that's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you. Move on to safety. Anything to report?
As far as the normal goes, it seems that there has not been any other obstructions up and down that river, with the exception of an occasional log here and there. But now the focus and the main concern is do we need to check all of our electricity at our docks to make sure that the tragedy that I've just got wind of today couldn't repeat itself?
I can, I was gonna say, Danny, do you mind if I say, and feel free to add, or I hope not correct, but add, depending on where it goes. I know that we talked with Barb and Tom Cherry, and we are having our spots checked, just because something like that over at another marina gave us, it's always good to check when you hear about something like that. Make sure like something like that can't happen in another spot. I know we've had some discussions with the fire department, police department. I know they've talked to DNR since what happened earlier today over at Marina Shores. And just put it simply, I believe we're checking pretty quickly. And Barb can kind of say that too. I want to be careful what I say because there is an investigation over at that other marina. So I don't know what's appropriate and not appropriate at this time, but we're definitely checking.
Wonderful, thank you.
If I can add to that just a little bit, I sat on a National Boating Safety Advisory Council with the United States Coast Guard, and we spent a whole day on this issue. And one of the things was that this is a much more dangerous issue in freshwater than saltwater because the electricity seems to fan out in freshwater. Saltwater goes direct to ground, so it goes straight down, which was interesting. But also, I remember Michigan City had a problem with this issue a few years ago, and I think there are dedicated devices to test for it. And something I would recommend is that if this isn't horribly expensive, I would purchase such a device and have it on hand. And then I thought of this earlier, I think we ought to start keeping a log of when we tested and how often we tested, because if I were the liability attorney chasing something like this, I would ask for that log book, and that would be a grounds of liability or a means to prove it or establish it. And so honestly, I think I would start logging these tests, and maybe monthly or something like that would be a really good protection for the citizens who rent the slips, and also the fishing pier, and who use the fishing pier, and anything else. And then I believe Barb mentioned we have signage, no swimming. Absolutely, great job. Thank you.
Tom, we have signs in the marina, no swimming signs in many, many places, and each dock has a laminated sign at the gate entrance so that you can't miss it. It's called an ESD warning, electric shock drowning warning. We put those up every year, so slip holders are well aware to stay out of the water.
Yeah, great job, and that's being very, very proactive, and that's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the input there, and obviously we have to act on best defense in this case. Planning and development. Anything there tonight? I have a brief update from Matt. Matt cannot attend tonight, but he's giving us two updates. One on the fishing pier, says Trail Source will be back on site next week to finish up the punch list items. So that should then complete everything that they're responsible for. On the fish cleaning station, the construction continues. I encourage you, if you've not gone by, please do, and foundation is in, or the concrete floor is in. I understand that the brick, or block, I should say, block should be within another week or so for the sidewalls, and they'll continue moving forward there. In regards to Prairie Avenue, the parking issue should be resolved in the next few days, and this is in regards to the line that they're going to bore underneath. I was at the meeting, the site meeting last Thursday, and the possibility is that they will bore from a location near the roadway or on the other side. And if that can be confirmed, then we can finish our parking area. Anything else on planning and development? Okay, at this time, we'll move on to any old business. if nothing, then we'll move on to new business. We do have one item here. And that item is noted as the fish cleaning station pay app number 3, Hassey Construction, for the approval of $73,677.02. That is in your packets. That is an invoice that was not listed, I understand. Board, you have that in front of you for review. Is there any questions, concerns? Or we could take it up with a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pay app number 3.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, now we can take up any discussions of the invoicing they provided. If no discussion, let's move on to vote to approve this invoice. So all in favor of approving invoice, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the Hassey Construction invoice is approved. Other new business. All right, with that, it then would complete our meeting tonight, and I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
First and second, meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a good night.